the top right corner of this video. If you have, let's keep tracking. Right. So if this map is slightly different to the one that I used last time, it's because I lost the map before and I had to remake it. So it's like very similar to it though. And in the yesterday we saw a big thing that happened, which is the whole Yellow Team Alliance. I missed one. Joining the war on Pakistan and Iran. So starting in the north, we had this kind of like northern region of Pakistan that they took over, like in the India video that I've just recently done. They are kind of not encircling, but they're kind of going around the capital city and also capturing a major city along with it. While in the south, they're kind of just they cut off this use with Omani troops then, and they cut off the south, which capitulated basically with seeing this Iran, like it fumbled quite bad because Afghani troops are also piling in from this area because Pakistan's a lot stronger than Iran. So, but Iran is faltering. Like there's different, not factions, but different parts of the country are really not wanting to fight this war anymore. So they decide to pull out of Azerbaijan, not trying to get any land off of Azerbaijan or anything, which actually allows Azerbaijan to again push into Iran. So with the help of them, with Turkey, they are really doing well in the northern front of Iran. Almost getting to this like core regions of Iran really. They get right outside of its capital, and on the other side of Iran, down in this southern eastern part, it's looking like it's like there's not as many people in these regions, so this is why I'm brushing over quite more. But then when it hits around here, that's when that's quite a bit more people. So they do capture another major city in this region. But Iran had one thing up its sleeve, as the whole world, including like Britain, USA, Britain, Russia, China, and I think it's Israel, but Israel's gone now. I'm trying to think, what other countries have nuclear bombs? So North Korea, France. I think that's about it. So all these countries, I think there's a couple more, but these are all the ones off the top of my head. They have nuclear weapons, but in this world, nuclear weapons weren't made. As World War II was a lot shorter and everything, so there wasn't any move to make nuclear bombs. So as they were coming close to this region, getting right up and close to the capital, instead of a nuclear bomb being detonated, a chemical warfare bomb was done, and I'll do it in this colour, in the capital cities there. They hit Ankara, and I'll show on the major cities as well. So Ankara, it hits capital of Egypt, Cairo. So these are like different make bombs obviously, and they hit New Delhi. And picking up on that, so because they sent off 4, and they hit the Azerbaijani capital. With this, Iran, with its small amount of military left, are able to claw back, and especially in India, there's like it sparks outrage with as the people in the country are like, what's happened? New Delhi's like half the population of New Delhi just died, which is the most populous city. With India having roughly about, let's think about this. So in this world, we're about 100 odd years in the future. So we're probably looking at this region having like, I would say this with India and Myanmar and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh and north of Pakistan. I'm gonna say 2 billion people probably. So with New Delhi being the most populous of them, it's not looking very good for them. Well, it actually makes the fight for it stronger as more and more people that weren't going to join actually do join the army, and well, obviously other military forces as well. But I mean, they're cut off from any trade from the world basically because they're just encapsulated by fully a yellow team, as we'll see here, yellow team countries. So as their trade is gone and the capital city is being encircled and is under siege. I mean, when I say under siege, like the capital city's still got like capabilities to fight back, but it just not capabilities to release itself. And in these parts, I mean, Pakistan, they just give up, and well, with Iran realizing that actually this just sparked more people to come and join the war effort, with more and more major cities getting retaken or captured. Like these regions of core Iran are just being like wiped over with, and when the capital city is under threat from two sides and the nearest major city to it is taken, they surrender as well. And I mean, every single country in this region, other than a couple, are going to pull out the war. So I'll just show you what this is going to look like. This peace treaty. Because if you think about that, Vietnam was fighting on with like against Pakistan, you know, like there was Vietnamese troops alongside Egyptian troops fighting in this. So that's what I mean. Like it's like this war had a lot of people fighting against it. Like, I mean, this part of the war, like so it wasn't going to go well for Iran at all and Pakistan. No, I'll just keep these countries because these are the 3 countries that are going to stay in the war. So, looking at Egypt, they're going to have these parts are going to have the capital of Syria, and they're going to come over and they're going to take Baghdad as well, which is going to be very influential for them, and then they somehow make it so that they have Persian Gulf access, which is incredible, honestly. Like to be fair, they did put a lot of effort into this war. Like not effort, but they did put a lot of manpower in this war, so they do kind of deserve it. And I mean, Cairo's gone, but they're not gonna put the capital in any of those regions. So I'm actually gonna relocate the capital of each of these countries. So this one is going to be, I forgot the name of this city, but it's going to be there. Turkey is going to be in Istanbul. Azerbaijan is just going to move to here. And India is just going to move further. Seems, I mean, what's just happened there? If you think that Syria and Iraq are going to survive, think again, because I mean, Turkey is going to be really greedy about this. Like, they think that they put the most into this, like this front of the war. I mean, man for man, like, you know, like, I mean, person for person, sorry, that was in this war, in this front, it would obviously be quite easily India, but compared to their amount of people, like, in like, their countries, yeah, it was Turkey. but very closely second by Egypt, though. Egypt did put a lot um, into this war as well. So they split up Armenia with Azerbaijan as well, with Azerbaijan taking the capital, and the southern half, while Turkey takes the northern half. Another like core part of this war, or yeah, they also link up with their enclave. Another like very big part of the war that Turkey put a lot of troops into was into northern Iran. As Iran is not much weaker than Turkey in like today, but in this Turkey has quite thoroughly surpassed them in terms of military strength, and also they'll give this region to Azerbaijan. So like they are stronger, like as like Turkey in today's is probably slightly stronger than Iran. I mean, you'd have to like ask someone who's a bit better at this Middle Eastern history and Middle Eastern countries in general. But I think by what I've been told, Turkey is slightly stronger than Iran. But in this world, it's like changing things slightly to like quite a bit much. So the UAE get tiny little sliver of land here, as they do want to just make Pakistan as weak as it can get, while Oman is going to get the whole of this southern region of Pakistan. As they are a small country, but they put like person for person, they put the fourth most people in this war on the red team. I mean, not including all the countries, because number 1's Turkey, number 2's Egypt, number 3's India, and number 4's Oman. And India's just gonna take the whole of Pakistan, and well, I mean, they'll give a little bit to Afghanistan, so they'll give these regions of Pakistan to Afghanistan, but most of the country goes to Afghanistan, not to India. But in Iran, it's another story, because they do want to keep Iran somewhat strong, because they want to make it into a puppet state. So they try making it into a puppet state, and they try pushing them into the Yellow Alliance, or at this point the Red Team, I guess. But the people, like, they try, but the people just keep rebelling. So they end up actually just going, you know what, let's just leave them crippled. It's like, so Turkey was only going to take like this much land, but they ended up just letting them take more land from them, and they ended up taking like a lot more from them, because if they weren't going to kind of work with them, then they weren't going to give them like much. But arguably the most like important part of the war, which is this region, is going to be a big difference, because Turkey, obviously getting a bit of a hit there, it sparked an outrage in the country, pushing a lot of people to enlist into the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. So Crimea is being able to be taken, and they helped Romania also take this region of land from them, and make an all-out offensive on this, like an all-out offensive from Romania to Kiev, and they link up with Crimea. Not attacking the border. They link up with from Crimea to the Romanian front, and Poland decides that they won't put as much into this front, which means that they will be able to push back slightly in the Finnish front, but they push back entirely into Ukraine, as they are thinking that if we can push out this way and this way, take Italy, then take Finland, we have won the war. That's their idea. So goes Poland, Germany, Italy, Finland. That's what they want to do. So it goes well. They push out entirely out of Poland out of their country, but that also leaves a lot of troops that were helping out around Czechia, but it would have been a lot more drastically worse. But they bring a lot of ships back to the homeland Italy, as the whole of Sicily is now been taken, and they make another offensive onto Sardinia, capturing a major city and going more north into the country, and trying to make a landing on Corsica, which is successful in taking the entirety of Corsica off of France. No, not that little island there. And kicking out the Italians from Sardinia. So all the islands, all the Italian and French islands are now being taken, which gives them two opportunities to either go into France, or they can go into northern Italy, because they've fenced up too much around Rome. So you can either go northern Italy or Monaco, basically. But Poland, as I said, they've been putting a lot more into the Eastern Front for them, and they're now pushing alongside Romania through the north of Romania into Poland, and they make one large Ukrainian front from Crimea to not Bulgaria, this is Belarus. As the Polish, they begin to push with the Romanians a lot into Kiev, and Turks really just pushed into these major cities around the eastern parts of Ukraine, and they come with the border of I don't even know what to call this country, this Russian breakaway country. Also there's also Azerbaijani troops here, because wherever Turkey goes, they go. And Egypt, they're helping a lot with the Sardinian and Sicilian front. So yeah, that just clears up that they are doing something and not just being paperweights. But Kiev is looking like it's going to be taken, as a lot of the military of I would say that this is number 1, 2, and 4 on the red team are coming together to try and take you down. It's not going to look very happy. While Czechia has been pushed back even more and more, and they're pushed back right to their capital. Also, British Norway has been taken over, and they're thinking of invading into Orkney or Shetland. I think that's Orkney or Shetland, I'm pretty sure. So, I've just gone into the CAR, sorry, not. Kiev is now they're at the gates of Kiev, and they're looking to encircle it, but they make that as a false flag, and they just go into the city and they take it with actually a lot more easily than you would think, and Ukraine capitulates, with that being the first major country to capitulate during this war. But the blue team get their flowers as well, as Czechia, the puppet state of Poland, also falls as well. And with that, they're able, with Italy, they don't really go much into Croatia, but they do a counter push with France into Corsica, taking back the entire island, and also pushing a little bit into Sardinia. While over in the Iberian front, Madrid they were right at the gates of Madrid, and Andalusia, it's a lot more easy to push into there. So Andalusia is gone, and Madrid is also gone as well. With that, both the countries they capitulate, and they're now pushing back into Catalonia through the south of Valencia, and then trying to link up with Barcelona. Then in Russia, they find that Russia is it's strong, but nowhere near as strong as they used to be. So they just push for Belarus because that's the where not core Russian areas. Um, and this is like Poland pushing into Russia because they think if they can push back Russia to this, they won't be at any risk. But they actually changed their plans as they realised that Czechia was folded a lot easier than they think. So they say if they can get to this major city here, they will make a marginal line almost, and they will dig in there, and they will help the Turkish in trying to push into Czechia again. So they do capture the city here. And then they realise that, I mean, what are the British doing? And then the British are like, well, hang on a minute. They're only about 65% of their full military is, no, I'll say about 85% of their full military is being completely used. So they start to think, like, if we want to retake British Norway, we're going to have to start either conscripting. They're going to have to start conscripting, and they're going to have to start using like a lot more of their economy to use, which they start doing, and we start seeing this as Catalonia and like the rest of Catalonia and Barcelona are now linked up, and the capital of the Basque country and is like reunited with the rest of the red team, and yes, so it's looking a lot more bright for them as they start to, well, conscript a lot more, because before they weren't able to conscript as they didn't have as much reason to. And from Orkney, they do a very, very, very large amphibious move into this region of Norway. And through here, they make a straight down to Oslo, as they were pushed back to this city here. It is very, very, very defended. It's very, very not like unstable, as that's where the last like POWs were captured. And when they take it, they get like an influx of POWs, which allows them to reinstate their dominance onto like the north. As Sweden, yes, they're using a lot of their troops still to try and retake back this island here, but they are a very, very, very capable army, so which is why they're able to push back Britain back to the gates of this major city here in British Norway. So that's a very, very, very big win for Britain. And they start calling upon the allies of Poland to help them out in British Norway. And they say, no, we're gonna try to push the Italians and the Germans out of Czechia. They call the Turks, they say, and they're like, oh, wait, the Turks, what are they using a lot of their military for? Well, Turkey they're being exhausted, fully and completely exhausted in Iran, and that looks horrendous, but in Iran and pushing into Italy. So they actually have a new idea. What if they almost take a little 6-break holiday, and they come back stronger, right? So they're gonna fortify, and they're just gonna leave half of the country. Not half of their they're gonna leave here, and they're gonna basically try and take more conscripts, not conscripts, but more people into the army and the military in general, and it's working. But for this 6 months, we're going to see a very, very, very big backlash of this. They're going to be able to push into Bosnia and Herzegovina, and they're going to be able to recapture the old capital city of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and they make a landing again into Sicily, where they've been able to push back Sicily right back to here, where they do want to hold it here, because if they can hold this and hold this island, they can probably do a recapture back of all the islands. And with the aid going like this, because look, this is like how the Turks do. They muster up from here. They go through Constantinople, Istanbul, Athens, Crete, while people from Cyprus and other parts of and from Egypt kind of come together at Crete, and they go around here from Tunisia, and they come through these islands to here or even to Barcelona, which is how they are able to give aid to these places. But without the aid of the Turks, the British, yes, are the most capable army, but the Turks are the second most. They're the second strongest. So, one more paintbrush. So, the French are able to make a reinstatement into Catalonia. Well, the Basque Country is very, very, very weird because they're the most, like, when they get captured, they keep fighting, they keep fighting, they keep fighting, they keep fighting, and they keep fighting. So they actually make a deal with them. If they can leave the war, they will allow them to take these different parts of the country. That being I've just completely mucked that up, haven't I? But I'll just take this out. So as the Basque Country is like filled with people that are like Basque, I guess, right? These people aren't fully Basque, but there's a bit of population here that are. So they take these regions and they basically say stop getting involved in the war, and that's all you have to do is leave. There's no economic reparations from us, there's nothing, just leave the war. They take the deal as now, but now they're more aligned with Britain, which gives them let's see, were they? No, they weren't. So they weren't allied with Britain before. So, but over here again, this is reaching about the 4th month mark, with them being in, like, using military, that they were putting down people, oppressing people in the Basque Country. They're able to push back, and this is the first time that Barcelona is actually captured. And they keep calling on the Turks, and the Turks finally they give in. But instead of going that for the Mediterranean, they can't say that, they can't go for there, because the odd chance that the Italians or the French take their boat down and this message is not passed on, it's going to be devastating. So they go the very, very, very long route through the Suez Canal, that strait. And if you know the name of this strait, please tell me. If you're a wizard at this sort of thing, if you're a wizard at geography, they go around this side of the, like, East Africa, around West Africa, and they go to Iceland, because they don't want to try going to London, they don't want to try go to Dublin, they go to Iceland, and then from Iceland they go to Edinburgh and into London, where this is told to the Prime Minister basically, hello, we are trying to just regroup ourselves, we will come back we'll come back at full force into the war in the next 2 to 3 months. During these 2 to 3 months, though, we see that the Russians are able to push back slightly. Obviously, I told you that they had like a marginal line basically put up, but they are able to push back here, and now the Germans are able to push into Poland, with them capturing this major city and going into this like Slovakian and like old Slovakian and Hungarian areas. But this reaches the 6th month mark, with Turkey coming back very, very, very close to being on par with the British military. I would say if you gave me 20 parts of the military, Turkey would probably win 7 of those. It'll be like a tie for like 4 of them, and then the rest will be British. because this comes back really, really, really close. Actually, no, I'll say 8 to be Turkish because they're really, really close to this point. And they've put a lot into their navy. Like, I would say that 55% of it's gone to their navy, which has given them the ability, because they think they're just doing like a routine thing around here. But instead of going up there, they go straight into Sardinia, capturing the south of the island, going into Sicily again, capturing the kind of west of the island, meeting up with this old kind of army base here, and going into the boot of Italy, and acquiring the whole of of South Italy. And I think this is Naples here. They take Naples, and they're threatening to go into attacking Rome. They take the whole of Sardinia, and they capture the south of Corsica. As this is coming like a really big shock to them, the French, instead of using a lot of their troops in Catalonia, they moved them out of Catalonia, still holding Barcelona though, but by the skin of their teeth, and taking back Corsica and northern Sardinia, and pushing them back to Naples. With this also though, it isn't just this. It isn't just this. This is like their naval stance, right? But then when the first kind of ships arrive into Catalonia, they're able to push back for Barcelona, and they're able to push into South France, taking, I can't remember where Lyon is, but taking the southwest of France, pushing with the Basque Country, which is secretly actually helping them, as they're very, very, very patriotic about wanting to take over France, almost as like a new France. Catalonia and Turkey, they sit there at this point. And they also pushed back into Bosnia and Herzegovina, as they didn't think that they were going to have any more like aggressors. They thought that was kind of the end of it, and that Croatia was fine. Taking the old capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina for maybe like the 7th to 6th time, and they take back and they try and take back the Croatian capital, but it doesn't really work. But the place where they have the most success is pushing back Poland, I can't be bothered doing that, and also pushing back into Czechia, as the capital city is able to be retaken quite easily. And they're able to push into these regions here, and this is the capital city right here. So Croatia starts to falter, as even for the north, they're starting to get invaded, and it's not looking very great for Croatia, so they just surrender. Another place where they are also doing very well in as well is they attack Russia a little bit through Ukraine, meeting up with the Polish front, and the Polish see that Turkey's actually come back a lot stronger, and and to stretch their army even more thin, they go around for the Mediterranean, Strait of Gibraltar. They go through, I don't even know, it's the Strait of Ireland, I guess, and they go help in the Norwegian front, with them pushing back completely, not completely, but they do completely push them out of Norway, the Swedish. They also focus on Norway, as Norway is a very, very, very weak country. They are able to push them back and encircle Oslo, as they have naval dominance over this region, and they take Oslo, and they take Oslo. Nope, let's just do this properly. There. They also begin to attack into these regions of Norway, with Norway actually capitulating quite early on, like very early on actually. And they push to Stockholm. Well, they kind of fake them, ankle break it, and well, they just go for the south of it instead of Stockholm, and they push for these regions of Norway. And I mean, when I mean it, like this is like a new, this is like Turkey going from like this amount going back right to there. Like they have basically fully revamped their entire military. No, like I mean a lot of the military, and they've done so much to help it that it's like a total new workforce back coming. And Czechia is fully fully pushed back other than this kind of panhandle part where they're able to push into Venice, and they go down the Aegean Sea. No, it's what I can't remember the sea what it's called, but Italy's looking like it's going very bad. So they want to leave the war, but they realise if they leave the war, that's leaving the whole of this, which means that they'll take that and they'll push into Germany. So they actually sacrifice themselves, knowing that they're probably going to be really done hard by this treaty. But if they leave the war, then later on it'll come to bite them, because they know there'll definitely be a war coming next soon. But it's, if we look at this, we see we see like about 4 different factions coming up, because I'll just tell you right now, the Turkish is one, and we have the core blue team, not Russia, which is like this. They're the one faction. We have the British. And then we have like this kind of Poland, Croatia, Serbia, all that kind of Central Europe. If you can't tell what this is, I'm just going to tell you that the red team is not one team. Like, yes, the British and the Polish have good, have good kind of, they have good relations, and the Polish and the Turkish have alright relations. The Turkish and the British, for right now, they're being good. They have good relations, but after the war, they probably won't. And again, they push through. Nope, they don't do that. They push into Denmark, relieving it from the Germans, and they even take Copenhagen. And Sweden, they kind of have an agreement that they won't go too much further, but then they completely break that as soon as possible. Taking these northern regions, probably with like special forces, honestly, and they're attacking Stockholm. Again, they fake that they're going to do that, and they just encircle it. And Sweden is not looking too hot, because remember, this is like, because Catalonia is basically doing this by itself, and the Portuguese, it's like the Portuguese and the Catalonians. This is like the British. There's like the whole of the Britain, Iceland, Greenland, and Norway against, and Turkey, and like Egypt as well, against Sweden. So this is why it's so easy for them to push into them. Where it gets to a point where they are getting a bit tired of the war. Like, all sides of them are getting a bit tired of the war, except from one, which is France. France keep pushing, and the British see this, that they're focusing all their military in this kind of region here, and they're also focusing a lot of it into here. What about the north? The English Channel has very, 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 very little protection against it. So the British and the Polish and the Danish and the Portuguese, which are kind of British, I guess, yeah, they are British. They attack at 5 different locations in France, that being Brittany, Normandy, I think, don't know what this is. I think this is Dunkirk, I can't remember, and here as well. They also attack into Belgium and Rotterdam, I think. And as Brittany and this other one kind of come together, and they encircle this a major city, and they kind of link up the whole French front, with Belgium, it seems like it's going to be it's going to be quite easy, as they act very very quickly, living off the land, as Napoleon done, and they're pressuring the Paris. They take Brussels and they move into Luxembourg. Well, they don't push into Germany for long, and they take Amsterdam. All these places kind of, they won't make it fall, because if Paris falls, no, they're not going to try to push into it, because there's just going to be too many losses. But it's not looking good for France, and at this point, France exit the war, as well as these guys, and I mean, is Britain thinks that their job is done, so they also leave the war, and with that, we'll see the rest of Britain leave the war. So the whole of Western Europe's not part of this anymore. Also, the Turkish think that they're done with this as well, and nope, I'm not making a Mediterranean Sea country. All of these guys, they leave the war, and well, these guys, they kind of sit down for peace treaties. Well, this is like Turkish blue silken, so I'm just gonna put it as white. And Polish thinking about doing. Oh yeah, these guys also leave. The Polish are thinking about doing sitting down and having a meeting right now, but they think if they don't push more at this point, then they will lose probably more land, because they're very 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 like, oh no, I need to keep fighting this war, or else I will probably lose more land, as the two strongest on our team slot gone. So they like, but then people inside of them, they're getting tired of the war, and they're like, fine, you know what? Like, we've got four strong countries, and there's only 3 of us. So everyone just comes, sit down to a full meeting, where the first country to leave the war was Belgium, and the last was Poland and Germany, continuing to fight 2 months after Belgium left the war. To start this peace treaty, I'm going to start off in France and in Iberia, right? You see that the amount of war spoils that Portugal's going to get is mental, right? They're going to give this much to Morocco, as Morocco's a very good ally of Britain, and they were supplying them with a lot of things in the Iberian front. They didn't actually declare war though. Wow, this whole region is going to become British Portuguese. This is a very 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 thin brush down here. So British Portugal is probably doubled in size, which is incredible. And they also take this Andalusian. Oh no, that's not what they take. This is going to be Catalonian land. But I'll show you what the Basque country get. Also, these guys will get a little bit of land from here, just cause Catalonia's like, yeah, we want to take a lot, but we want to also get better relationship with these guys, and they're not very hard to win over. And the Basque country, they take the Andalusian capital, with them getting immensely larger actually, because remember, they were very 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 small. And well, they don't use Madrid, they use Barcelona as the capital, obviously. And in Britain, they actually take a lot less land than they could have, taking these areas of land. I mean, like what's on North France, like North Belgium, and like West, and then like what? That's, forgot the name of them. That's embarrassing. Well, all the lowlands countries actually just they just come together under the France flag. I done it on the wrong layer. Oh no, wait, maybe I did. No, wait, yeah, I did do it in the wrong way, but just not that stuff. So, to say again, Britain gets this land. I think they got a bit more out of them this time, while the lowland countries, all of them, including Luxembourg, come together under the French flag. Don't know why they would do that. Don't know why they would try and become French, but it's up to them, I guess. And obviously the capitals are not going to be in Amsterdam or the Belgian capital. So, I mean, France technically didn't lose that much land, but they lost their own land, not theirs, sort of thing. Well, Italy, Sicily, and Southern Sardinia is going to become Turkish of all things, and they are going to have a bit of a land swap where Germany's going to take this, but Germany's going to pay Italy to do that. So again, they take the panhandle off of these guys, but Germany's going to pay Italy to be able to take this land because obviously that is technically Italian land. Like Italy should be getting their fair share of it. Well, Venice is going to become Czechia. So I mean, not too much bad happened from them. The Croatian state is not too hard to like topple over, so they topple them over and they actually get quite good war spoils off of this. They take this part, so Poland will not get any at all of Serbia, and also Czechia won't as well, and they also will take Montenegro. So they get a little bit bigger, but they're like entire like government is like flipped. Turkey will take this bit of land, while North Macedonia will take this, and Romania you see is going to get a lot bigger, as well. Also North Macedonia will take this bit of land as well, as they take nearly the whole of Serbia and the entire north of Bulgaria, so they're going to get a lot bigger. Because, this war did start off in the Baltics, but in the Balkans, sorry, not the Baltics. But, so, like, Romania does deserve their war spoils because they were one of the first countries to join the war. This northern region will go, and actually, no, you know what? I'll be a bit smart at this. All of this is going to become North Macedonian, and because the Mediterranean land, the Turks will see as a lot more important than, because they do a bit of a land swap here, but they only took the smallest amount of land needed to connect their country to be one. Because what they are going to do is they're going to get North Macedonia to pay them like a lot of war reparations, not war reparations, a lot of money, so then they can, for them to kind of like take this bit of land, because it would look, first of all, it would look very very bad, but also it's just makes a load more sense. I mean, Germany, it did not very do much, so they didn't attack Germany, so they won't do much there. Well, the whole of Latvia is going to be fully annexed, and the Baltic Union is just going to come together with Finland, because they don't get massacred, but I mean, quite a lot of land does become Polish. I mean, this kind of Lithuanian land. And the Ukrainian land, I mean, it's not going to be very much, because again, the Ukrainians are going to be quite easy to topple over, but these guys will take this. So instead of doing like the method of like, just leaving them be, they're going to take a bit of land off of them, but they're also going to make them like a totally new government. And Crimea and all this land is going to become Turkish. The last bit that I have to show you is the Nordics. Well, I mean, this like the western part of the Nordics, which, well, I'll just show you right now. It's gonna look pretty for um Britain. As I'm just gonna take away the whole border so I can just properly redesign it. With from here, this is gonna be the British land. And well, I'll just show you at the start that Sweden and Finland will come together under one flag. This is north part of Finland because they did technically lose, but they didn't really do much. Like so they didn't get too much off of them, and also they're very lucky to not get any off of them. Same with the Baltic Union, they didn't get that much off of them. And they think the whole of this land is going to be fully British land. Yeah, so I'll just show you what I'll do it off camera what the you know, all this stuff is gonna be, all the alliances, but I'll just tell you now that it's not just gonna be like one massive alliance between these guys, and these guys. But I'll show you that in the next video, which I've decided to do as Nigeria making themselves an empire. And the video after that one is going to be a really interesting video. Right. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.